Hello everyone. I am Jijitha Mary, Assistant Professor, Department of English, here to discuss about the poem Because I Could Not Stop for Death, written by Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson is a well-known American writer. She born in the year 1830 and died in 1886. Here I have given list of her poems. Here many of her poems published after her death. So what their friends and the publishers did is they took the first line as title. So I am nobody, who are you? I heard a fly buzz when I died. Hope is the thing with feathers. The heart asked pleasure first. I felt a funeral in my brain. So and so. All her works, we know the first line is repeated as title. About this poem, it is published on 1890 and it is Emily Dickinson's longest and most fascinating poems of her, and it contains 6 stanzas with 4 lines, so it is a quatrain. The total number of lines in the poem is 24 lines with full rhyme and slant rhyme. So the theme we can take it as death, and the subjects here are death, time, and eternity. Now we can look at the poetic lines of this poem. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. Just when one imagine the term death or life after death, they can get the dark or gloomy state of life. Here Emily Dickinson makes the readers to love death because she portrays the death as gentleman who gently comes and asks the speaker to join with him for a carriage ride. Okay, so she just putting light on the gloomy state of death. So, come to know some sayings that, death will come in a rush and it will take the soul and fly away, things like that. But here she just, giving importance and she's giving, she's portraying death as he. In the second line, we can come to know, because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The word he represents death. So here she is personifying death. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. So the death is approaching the speaker and asking or calling the speaker for a ride, the carriage ride. The speaker says yes, and now three of them started their carriage drive. So the three members who are there in the carriage are the speaker, death, and immortality. The second paragraph, we slowly drove. He knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and leisure too for his civility. So, in the second paragraph, she, talks about the politeness of death. Okay, for his civility, for his politeness. I have so many works to do. Okay, the speaker is saying that I have, works to do, but for his politeness, the speaker put away all her labor and leisures, and now they started for a pleasant drive. That is, we slowly drove. The three persons there in the carriage, they started for a ride. He knew no haste. He, in a sense, again, death. The death, no, it is not in a hurry. Okay, so he knew no haste. Haste means it's a hurry, and I had put away. So I just put all my works aside, and I had put away my labor and leisure too for his civility, for his politeness. I put away all my task away, and I started. No, I started my ride with him. That is what there in the second paragraph. We passed the school where children strove Atricus in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun. So now they passed three scenes. One is the school where children plays in the ring, and the second one is the field of grain, and the third one is setting sun. Okay, so these three images represents the life passing from childhood to adulthood and from adulthood to old age. That is what these four lines represents. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring, where children are playing in the school. We passed the fields of gazing grain. Okay, so they passed the field of grain, so that is what the adulthood age. And we passed the setting sun, so that is the old age. They passed the old age, or rather he passed us. Okay, so here this he represents sun. Okay, so whether they passed the sun or the sun passed them is what they were in dilemma. So the dews drew, curing and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. So here we know after the sunset the climate changes to chill. So here the speaker wears a thin tulle, which she says that is not she is not properly dressed for the occasion. So the dress she wear is a transparent and a very light material, which is not suitable for the current occasion. So it makes the readers to clear that if death approaches, one have to start the very next second. So it won't give time to do the household works or to complete the pending task, or to change gown which is suitable for the weather and things like that. We passed before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. That roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then it is centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. So here now they see a new home rising up from the earth, just nothing but a graveyard. Okay, so here the speaker represents the house as graveyard. Death has taken the speaker to her grave, but for the speaker, she doesn't view her grave negatively. That is what is given here. We passed before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. That roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, it is centuries and yet feels shorter than the day. So, for centuries, they are traveling together, but for the speaker, she feels it is shorter than the day. I first surmised the horses' heads were towards eternity. So, as I said before, for the speaker, it is not a scary place. Instead, it's a location where she comes to face with eternity. So, here, this poem takes a closer look at the process of coming to terms with death and how death is unavoidable. Okay, so I think here we can take some three important themes. They are the inevitability of death, the connection of life with death, and the uncertainty of the afterlife. The journey into death is what Dickinson talks about throughout this poem. Thank you for listening.